Through the mists and falling leaves of Il Lombardia, a glimpse of salvation. A brief respite for weary legs and hearts, riding past the Madonna del Ghisallo. It is another summit overcome in an as-yet unfinished battle. The chapel here may be dedicated to cyclists, but it isn't its only spiritual connection, as chaplain to the pro peloton, Don Daniele Laghi understands.
Cycling has always gone to religious places, like Assisi and Madonna del Frasino, and these days the Monte Berico. The Madonna del Ghisallo is where the cycling museum is based, so there are many connections to the church. Pope Pius XII was the first to encourage priests to use bikes and gave the blessing of the Lord to sport, highlighting its importance, because it's good for health, life, and also the spirit.
It was also Pope Pius XII who pronounced the Madonna del Ghisallo the patron saint of cyclists. And here at the chapel, one cyclist is held in special regard, Giro Batali. During World War II, the Catholic icon used his fame on the bike to transport documents and rescue Jews persecuted by the Nazis.
Bartali left a legacy after his death. His actions were discovered in his diaries and in letters from the prisoners and people that he saved. He never said anything to anyone about it, except the Pope. For this reason, we can say that we should respect one another and respect each person's privacy and never cast judgment. The Church itself teaches us not to judge others, but to support others, as the Lord taught us.
Nicknamed Gino the Pious, Batali was to come to his nation's aid again a few years later.
We can also think of the big crisis in Italy in 1948, when President de Gasperi asked the Italian cyclists to win the Tour de France to give a message of hope to the Italian people. As in politics and community, in our religion the Catholic Church supports cyclists, because according to St. Paul, everyone charges forward, everyone has their goal. Of course, sport, work and life have their stages, but the greatest goal is happiness, having the satisfaction of knowing that we're making the best use out of our existence, of our lives.
Despite the internationalisation of the sport, cycling has continued to stay close to the Vatican, particularly in Italian cycling's masterpiece, the Giro d'Italia.
I know popes have always blessed the pink jersey before the Giro d'Italia begins. Pope Francesco did it last time. They've always supported the biggest Italian cycling race because it unites a nation and the people. And the Pope gives his blessing and support, and that means that the Lord not only protects, not only cares, but goes with the cyclists at this race, sending out a message of hope. It's human, economic, touristic, but also spiritual.
While the nation shows the same religious fervour for cycling as it does for church-going, Don Daniele is on hand for the spiritual encouragement of the riders themselves.
I count many cyclists as friends. During my time, we've become close friends with them and also with their families. Like Giovanni Visconti, who's been a good friend for many years. Like Maxime Bouet, the French rider, and Franco Pelizzotti. In November, I gave Holy Communion to Fabio Aru, who I sometimes see with his family. And I'm friends also with Ivan Basso, Daniele Benatti, and several others. At the moment, I'm preparing the wedding of Manuel Cinziato, who now lives in Spain. And I hope, in this way, that we become more like a big family, the great family of Italian cycling.
While cyclists fine-tune their bodies and sharpen their minds towards success, Don Daniele sees to it that their contentment away from the bike contributes to a winning formula.
It's an important thing, as cyclists have to make sacrifices for their job, leaving their families, homes, girlfriends and countries for a long time, to take up a passion that has turned into a career. And certainly, as they stay away from home for a long time, then a text or an email can help them to face those difficulties better. It's a spiritual experience. Every person can be spiritual, and it's the same for cyclists. As with every sportsman, I lift their souls up to the Lord.
The toil, the pain, the suffering, man pushing himself to his limits. Cycling is a physical act like no other. And yet, when the bells ring out every year at the Madonna, it is a reminder that cycling will forever be connected to a higher plane.